Hello and welcome to another update video about Ethereum. While not too much is going on the lower time frames, would like to introduce or I would like to talk about the longer time frame. Yeah, here about the daily, maybe weekly chart. Would like to take a look at a few of those indicators and first of all the longer term Elliott Wave count, because I did mention it before, but you know, from time to time it's worth revisiting it as we get new viewers every day, new subscribers, and again, thanks for that. But long-term Elliott Wave count, my view is that we have got our second 1-2 setup here currently. So we had here a first wave up, a wave 2 down, and we are basically now in this wave 3. Within the wave 3, however, we've got 5 waves. So here we have our second 1-2 setup currently. And in this wave 2 currently, well, it could be finished. Yeah, it could be finished, this wave 2. And it could have been completed in June. That is not entirely clear. My view is it is complete as long as we stay above $1,000, because below $1,000 we're crossing below the 88.7% Fibonacci retracement level since June. And this would increase the chances of dropping below the June low dramatically, and then we are most likely going to go to the $650 level. But similar to Bitcoin, I see this move up in May 21 as a wave 1. I think Bitcoin might have peaked in April. I would need to double check that. Can just do that here quickly. I think Bitcoin peaked at a different time. Just double check that quickly. That was, yeah, it was in April, whereas Ethereum peaked in May. Now again, it's the same wave structure basically, and then we came down in an A wave and we moved up in an overshooting wave B. Here a very clear 3-wave move, therefore overshooting wave B, and we then moved down in 5 waves in a so-called wave 2. I mean, other interpretations might be possible, but it also doesn't really change a lot down here. And yeah, the assumption would still be we are in a higher degree wave 3, and within this wave 3 we're doing here the 1-2 setup. Possibly we are already in the third wave of the third wave to the upside. What would be the target? So let's look at targets for the next all-time high as well. Just roughly here, not really going into too much detail here, but yeah, let's take a look, and we would be talking about round about $8,260. That would be the third wave. So basically, if we say we've had our wave 1, we've had our wave 2, now we're waiting for the third wave. I'm gonna adjust that. So third wave, which should take us to that level if Ethereum recovers, which it ideally should, which I believe it will. And then we should get sort of into this region between the 1.618 extension and the 200% extension, could go all the way up to $10,000. What we will then see is a wave 4 to the downside and a wave 5 up. So wave 4 down, yeah, and a wave 5 up. And that textbook target for that wave 5 would be $12,800. And then bear in mind, this would only complete the wave 3 that belongs to the higher degree structure. So you can see how this is then cascading to the upside, and you can also see why it is so important for young assets to create those 1-2 setups, because they are the foundation for future growth. Yeah. So ideally we on the way we get a few more of these 1-2 setups, because they will help the price to cascade higher and reach much higher levels in the future. I sometimes, you know, compare that to Apple. By the way, I do chart Apple as well and other stocks and shares. This is all part of our gold membership. But if I go to just the monthly chart, and if I just go back to the beginning of the Apple price and chart, yeah, this is very much, we're talking here about the 1980s. But what I just want to show you is this these 1-2 setups that we've seen here, yeah? These 1-2 setups on the chart. You, for example, had here with Apple a very, very strong 1-2 setup. And then this was, for example, a 1-2 setup as well. So that 1-2 setup took nearly 10 years to play out. And then we had another 1-2 setup here. So app before it really kicked off, yeah, Apple created 3 1-2 setups. 1, 2, 1, 2, or you could even argue, I would need to look at the lower level wave. It's probably more like 1, 2, 1, 2, and 1, 2. 3 1-2 setups. And I did talk about it before. Had Apple not done all these stock splits, it would be worth around $30,000 today. Not exactly, plus minus, I don't know, but sort of in that region, yeah. And then you always see when you have your wave 1 up, you see your ABCs down, ABC, and from the top here as well, somewhere ABC and ABC. And this is exactly what Bitcoin is doing, what Ethereum is doing, right? So I found that quite interesting, always to point that out, because a lot of people need to see that relation and that reference, what it actually means. Okay, and yeah, basically we're assuming we've done this C wave down, yeah, back into June. So we could say at the moment, as long as we're holding the $1,000 level, that this wave 2 was back in June at $880. And since then we have moved up in a wave 1 to the upside, and we are now moving down in a wave 2. And this is valid as long as we hold the $1,000 level. 1, 2, and we would move up in a wave 3 next to $3,000. It's only valid as long as we're holding the $1,000 level. And I must say, this scenario has become less likely since the 9th of November, when we crashed down as a result of the FTX collapse. Until then, everything looked really good. We talked about here a wave 1 to the upside. We talked about here nice ABC pattern, yeah, a wave 2 to the downside. Had a long time to accumulate here, moved up, yeah, did realize some profits at the time, made you aware, moved up stop losses. So we weren't really caught out by the FTX drop and collapse. However, the fact that we did that strong drop, it sort of messed up the wave pattern, yeah. So it was very, very nice to count this as a 1-2 setup with 1 up and then ABC down. Now to make it work, I need to count wave 1 up and then A, B, C. Problem is the C wave is quite short if it is supposed to stop at $1,000, which makes this scenario now less likely, okay? But it's still possible as long as we hold the $1,000 level, but certainly reduced in likelihood, yeah? And that means the likelihood that we're going to see $650, or at least the June low, has increased quite dramatically. Okay, but then in the very short term, my view is still that we go a little bit higher here in the short term, ideally to around 1400. Now we have the next decision point, however, at around the $1,300 range, because what we're currently doing here, I mean, from this last swing high, we came down in 5 waves. That gives us the possibility that this could be just part of a larger A down there, a B wave, yeah, and the B wave consists of A, B, C. That's why we had 5 waves down, and a C wave to the upside. That would be the short-term more bullish count, where, however, we would then peak somewhere around 1400, 1500 and come down afterwards, but then have a chance to test the $1,000 level, and then we'll see, are we going to break it or not? Or we had 5 waves down, and this is the bearish interpretation, the immediately bearish interpretation. We're now moving up to around 1300 only in 3 waves, ABC, and would then come down and break the $1,000 level. So if we break, and without making a new high above, let's say, the most recent swing highs here at 1350, if we don't make a new high on the way up now, this is most likely going to go through the $1,000 level down. And if we now zoom in a bit, so the blue count is the bearish count, and in the blue count, I think we are currently still moving higher, because this, even though it's the bearish one, we're currently in a corrective move to the upside after we came down in a very clear 5-wave move. We bounced in the support area, and we are probably doing now this A, B, C pattern, and in the C wave we should see 5 waves up. Wave 1 up, done. Wave 2 probably just in the making. Wave 3 to the upside still coming. Wave 4 down. Wave 5. This is how it should play out in the bearish count. So even in the bearish count, I do expect further short-term upside, and in the bullish count it would obviously cascade higher then. or at least short-term bullish count. Yeah. Good. And the key support area is very short-term. That's the area here based on Fibonacci supports. That's this 1-2 setup within the blue wave C. And it should take us ideally into this region here between, just going to do that a bit more accurately. So here between, let's say, 1209 and 1195. Yeah, this is the ideal support area here for a wave 2. This could also become some kind of a strange triangle, an Elliott wave triangle, that the wave B actually is a triangle. But in the end, the outcome would be the same. We would get into this wide support area. That would be ideal. Exception is if we already earlier than expected break out, then a signal for that would be a move above 1235. Yeah, this high. And if we drop below 1195, I think this imminent upside potential isn't going to work out anymore, because then it is getting, at least it's getting far less likely. And the risk of an imminent breakdown, even without further short-term upside potential in the blue count, is then massively increasing. And the blue count would be finally confirmed. That is going to work out. So the immediate breakdown, with or without short-term upside, that's sort of, the very, very short-term view here. But the blue count would be confirmed, basically, that we're not going to go above the 1350 high here. Would be confirmed if we drop below the red support area at 1125. Okay, and that's my update about Ethereum. I hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.